Hi y'all, this is Larry from Deep South Texas, and today it's a little rainy outside, so I can't work in the garden. I'm going to make cinnamon rolls. Now, this is my wife's recipe that she got from a really old cookbook, and she makes the most wonderful cinnamon rolls, but she hasn't made any for about 20 years when the kids were younger. So we're going to give it a go again today and see if we can duplicate how she did it. And here are the ingredients for the dough. 3/4 cup of butter, 2 cups of milk, 1/2 cup of sugar, 1 tablespoon of instant yeast, 3 eggs straight from my backyard chickens, a teaspoon of salt, and 6 cups of all-purpose flour. Well, the first thing we do is we combine the milk, and the sugar, and the butter. And we're going to put that on the stove and bring that up to a boil. Now, word on the street is that when you boil the milk, it helps break down some of the whey, and you end up with a softer dough. So that's what we're going to do. Now while we're carefully bringing that milk and sugar and butter up to a boil, I'm going to whisk up my 3 eggs. So I just wanted to show you the beautiful orange yolks you get with backyard chickens. So we brought the milk and butter and sugar up to a small boil, and we've let it cool off a little bit, but I think it will cool faster in this bowl. So I'm going to add this to the bowl and continue the cooling process. And when that gets down to a temperature, like about 110 or just warm to the touch, then we'll add the yeast. Our milk and sugar and butter mixture has finally cooled down to just warm to the touch, about 105 degrees. Now we're going to add in our yeast. Now this is instant yeast. I could add that directly to the flour, but for people that are using dry active yeast, probably should add the yeast and then wait for the yeast to start bubbling up. So we're going to do the same thing here. It wouldn't be necessary, but we'll wait a few minutes to verify that our yeast is active. Well, the yeast has bloomed quite well, so let's carry on with the rest of the process here. We're going to add in our eggs, put in a little bit of our flour, and the salt, and we're going to begin mixing that up. We'll add the flour a little bit at a time as we go along. So there's 6 cups of flour. Probably won't use it all. We'll sort of see how it feels as we go along. Save a little bit for later on in the process when we're shaping these cinnamon rolls. We'll get back when we get this all mixed up. So we have it all mixed together. I did use the entire 6 cups of flour. And now we're going to let it set for 20 minutes. And then we'll take it out and knead it. So we've let the dough rest for a little bit. It's time to get it out of the bowl and give it a little kneading. Now this dough is a little bit stickier than regular bread dough. We may add a little bit of flour while we're kneading it, but we'll try to avoid that to whatever extent possible. Let's see how it feels here. Not too bad. So we'll continue kneading this until it feels right. Probably about 5 minutes. And add a little bit of flour here and there. Trying to avoid flouring the board for the moment. I will need to put some flour down when we're rolling it up, and I want to add as little excess flour as possible. So I kneaded that dough for about 5 minutes, and it feels pretty good. I've taken that opportunity to wash out my bowl and butter it. And now we're going to let this dough sit and rise until it doubles. Maybe up to an hour. While we are waiting for our dough to rise, I'm going to mix up the filling. So it's 3/4 of a cup of butter, which is 1.5 sticks. 1 cup of brown sugar. And our cinnamon. I think that was 2 tablespoons. And then we're just going to mix this up. The butter was fairly soft. It's been setting out all morning. And we just get that all mixed together. That's all mixed up now, and we will be using that in the next step. The dough has risen. Let's punch that down. And then we're going to lightly flour our board. And our rolling pin. and roll this out to get about a 15 by 15 inch rectangle. We're as rectangular as we can get it. And as even as we can get it. So we have our 15 by 15 kind of rectangle. And now we're going to start putting on our filling. Try to get this even. Just going to get it out on the bowl and then try spreading it around a little bit. My wife doesn't mix hers up with the butter first. She butters the dough and then sprinkles the cinnamon on top of it. And that might be a little bit easier. We'll get it on there. So we have our filling on, and now we just roll it up. Kind of pinch that seam in. And now it's time to cut out our cinnamon rolls. So we're going to get 12 giant cinnamon rolls out of this. So I got a different piece of string. Hopefully this will work a little bit better. I think so. Okay, so I want 12. So every 1.25 inches, and I'm just going to eyeball this. We're going to cut these up and move them over to a buttered pan. Let's cut one more here. There we go. We'll get back when we have these all done. Well, I have 11 extra sized cinnamon rolls. So they're looking pretty good. One big pan of big ones, and then 5 in a smaller pan. Now we're going to let these rise for another 45 minutes to an hour. And about in the middle of that period of time, we're going to turn the oven on and preheat it to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, the cinnamon rolls have risen. It's time to get them in the oven. They look terrific. So the oven's been preheated to 350 degrees. We will be baking these for 25 to 30 minutes or until we think they're done. They are going in now. And here they are, fresh out of the oven. Wow, do they look good. And they smell great too. We're going to let these cool off just a little bit before we put some icing on. Wow, look at those soft, fluffy, Texas-sized cinnamon rolls. Wow, those are some Texas-sized cinnamon rolls. Put a simple icing on it with powdered sugar, a little butter, a little vanilla. I'll leave the recipe for that and all the rest of it down in the description in case you want to check it out. They look good. Let's take a taste. Mmm. One of these cinnamon rolls is a whole meal. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that thumbs up. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again next time.